I ran into the hospital to see my son in the operating room. Suddenly a nurse grabbed my arm and whispered, "Quick, ma'am, hide and trust me, it is a trap." My hands started to shake, but I did exactly what she said. And 10 minutes later, I froze when I saw him. My name is Linda. I am 68 years old, and I never imagined I would end up spying on my own son from a medical supply closet, with my heart pounding so hard I thought it would give me away. But that day, that damn Tuesday in October, I understood that a mother's love can also make you blind until someone forces you to open your eyes. It all started with a phone call at 7 in the morning. I was making coffee on the stove, the kind that brews slowly with a cinnamon stick when my cell phone vibrated on the kitchen table. The number was unknown. I almost did not answer, but something in my chest told me to do it. Mrs. Linda Foster. A male voice, serious, rushed. "Yes, that is me. This is the City General Hospital calling. Your son, Sam Foster, has just been admitted to the emergency room. He is in critical condition. We need you to come immediately." The air escaped my lungs. My legs went weak. The phone almost fell from my hands. What happened to him? Is he okay? Can I talk to him? "There is no time, ma'am. Come now. Ask for the surgery department." They hung up. I do not remember putting on my shoes. I do not remember locking the front door. I only remember running toward the avenue, raising a trembling arm to hail a cab, and repeating like a prayer, "Please God, not my son, not my Sam." The ride was torture. Every red light seemed like an eternity. I saw my reflection in the taxi window, an older woman with her hair half tied back, no makeup, with her blouse buttoned wrong, but I did not care. I just wanted to get there. When the automatic doors of the hospital slid open, I entered like a soul chased by the devil. My sandals echoed on the shiny floor. The smell of disinfectant hit my nose. I approached the reception desk almost out of breath. My son, Sam Foster. They told me he is in surgery. The receptionist looked at me confused. "Foster, let me check." While she typed on her computer, I felt the world slowing down. Every second was unbearable. And then from my left, a firm hand grabbed my arm. It was a young nurse, about 30 years old, in mint green scrubs, and an intense look I will never forget. Her badge said, "Rachel Bennett, Registered Nurse." She leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Fast, urgent, Mrs. Foster, listen to me closely. Your son is not in surgery. He is not critical. This is a trap. Trust me. Come with me. Now." My brain could not process it. A trap. What was she talking about? But something in her eyes, a mixture of compassion and determination, made me obey. She pulled me gently toward a side hallway away from the reception. We walked fast. My legs barely responded. She opened a door that said, "Staff only," and shoved me into a small room full of boxes with gloves, syringes, folded sheets. "Stay here. Do not make a noise. And trust me." "But my son." "Your son is perfectly fine, and in 10 minutes you are going to understand everything." She closed the door. I stayed there in almost total darkness, with only a sliver of light coming in from under the door. The smell of latex and rubbing alcohol made me dizzy. My hands were shaking. My breathing was a disaster. What was happening? Why would Sam be okay if they had called me saying he was dying? And then I heard voices. Familiar voices. I peeked just barely through the crack in the door, and what I saw shattered my soul. There he was, my Sam, walking calmly down the hospital hallway, without a single scratch, without pain, without anything. He was dressed in a crisp white shirt and blue jeans, and by his side Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, with her perfect straight hair, her bright red nails, and that smile that always seemed too calculated to me. They were talking to someone, a man in a white coat, and they were laughing. They were laughing. My son. The son I thought was agonizing. He was laughing like it was nothing. I felt the floor opening up beneath my feet. I wanted to go out, scream at him, ask him what the hell was going on. But Rachel's voice resonated in my head. trust me. And I stayed still, watching, listening. Because what came next was worse than I could have ever imagined. But before I continue, if this story already has your heart in a fist, welcome back to the channel. Stay tuned to hear more real stories of women who stood up when everything seemed lost. Now let's continue. Let me tell you what I heard that day, because when the truth hits you, there is no turning back. While I remained hidden in that dark room with my heart beating in my ears, my mind began to rewind. 8 months. Just 8 months had passed since my life broke in two. Ernest, my husband of 43 years, died of a massive heart attack one morning in February. We were having breakfast together, pancakes and hot cocoa, when he simply put his hand to his chest and collapsed on the table. There was no time for goodbyes. There were no last words, only the atrocious silence of watching him leave without being able to do anything. The first few months were a hell of loneliness. Our house in the suburbs, that 2-story colonial with the garden and purple flowers climbing the walls, became a mausoleum of memories. Every corner screamed his absence. The rocking chair where he read the newspaper, his coffee mug forgotten on the bookshelf, the smell of his shaving cream that still floated in the bathroom. The house was worth $1,500,000, according to the appraiser. Ernest also left me $200,000 in savings, the result of a lifetime of honest work as an accountant. We were not rich, but we never lacked anything, and now all of that was just mine. Sam appeared at the funeral with Vanessa. I had not seen them in months. He worked at a marketing firm, and she was an influencer or so, she said. I never really understood what she did, but I always saw her in expensive clothes and with that air of superiority that made me uncomfortable. "Mom, you cannot stay alone in this big house," Sam told me, while we watched his father's casket go down. His eyes were dry. He did not cry during the entire funeral. That should have alerted me, but I was too broken to notice the signs. "I am going to be okay, son. I just need time." "No, Mom. Dad would not have wanted you to be alone. Vanessa and I are coming to live with you temporarily just until you stabilize." Temporary. I should have carved that word in stone. They arrived a week later with suitcases, boxes, and my granddaughter Cammie, a 3-year-old girl with brown curls and huge eyes. The little one was the only good thing about all of it. She clung to my leg the first day and said, "Grandma Linda, you smell like cookies." I melted. At first, everything seemed normal. Sam worked from home in what had been Ernest's office. Vanessa spent hours in front of her computer recording herself, talking about makeup and clothes. I took care of Cammie. I cooked. I tried to keep myself busy so I would not think about the emptiness. But things started to change, subtly, like when water starts to boil without you noticing. First, it was my bedroom, the master suite I shared with Ernest for decades. "Mom, do you mind if we switch to your room?" Vanessa asked me one afternoon with that honeyed voice she used when she wanted something. "It is just that we need space for Sam's computer and my recording equipment. And well, you do not need that much space, right?" Something inside me resisted, but I saw Sam behind her, nodding, waiting. And I just wanted my son to be okay. I did not want him to leave. I did not want him to leave me completely alone. "It is fine," I whispered. "I will move to the room downstairs." The guest room meant for help, small with a twin bed and a window that looked out to the backyard. The room where Shelley, our housekeeper from years ago, used to sleep. "It is temporary, Mom. Just while we organize everything." Temporary. I moved with my things in boxes. I watched as Vanessa redecorated my room with new gray sheets, elegant cushions, and a giant mirror with lights. They erased every trace of Ernest, every trace of me. Then came the other things. "Mom, you better keep your things in the downstairs pantry. We need the upstairs one for Vanessa's supplements." "Mom, could you not use the living room when we have guests? It is just that work people are coming, and you know we do not want interruptions." "Mom, do you mind if we put a lock on the pantry? It is just that a lot of food gets wasted, and we have to watch the budget." Each request was a small death. Every "do you mind" was actually an order in disguise. And I kept saying yes because I was afraid. Afraid of being left alone. Afraid that they would leave. Afraid to admit that my own son was displacing me from my own home, but the worst had not arrived yet. One day, looking for some old photographs of Ernest, I went into what used to be my bedroom. They were not there. I opened the dresser drawer looking for the photo album, and then I saw it. My pearl necklace. The pearls my grandmother gave me on my wedding day. 18 perfect pink pearls strung on white gold. I had kept them in my jewelry box my whole life, promising myself that one day I would give them to my granddaughter. They were there in Vanessa's jewelry box between her cheap earrings and her costume bracelets. I picked them up with trembling hands. They still smelled like my perfume, but now they were mixed with her things as if they were hers. I said nothing. I put them back there, and I walked out of the room feeling like I had just lost something more than jewelry. That night, lying in my little bed in the guest room, I heard laughter upstairs. Vanessa and Sam were celebrating something, music, glasses clinking, and I in my own house felt like an intruder, like a tolerated servant, like a nuisance. But I still did not know that the worst was just beginning. How did I go from being the owner of my house to feeling invisible in it? Wait, because what comes next is even more painful. Sam was not always like this. I need you to understand. The man who now treated me like an old piece of furniture was not the boy I raised. Or maybe he was, and I never wanted to see it. My son was the center of my universe for 35 years, an only child. He arrived after 5 years of failed attempts and 3 losses that almost destroyed me. When I finally held him in my arms, I swore he would never lack anything. And I kept that promise, maybe too well. Ernest always told me, "Linda, you are spoiling him. That boy needs boundaries." But I could not do it. Every time Sam cried, I ran. Every time he asked for something, I got it. Every time he got into trouble, I fixed it. When he failed a semester in college, I got a professor friend of Ernest to pass him. When he crashed the car at 22, we paid for the damages without asking him how it happened. When he quit 3 jobs in a row because the bosses did not appreciate him, we kept supporting him until he found something worthy of him. Ernest tried to set boundaries, but I always interceded. He is our only son. What are we going to do? Leave him to his luck. And then he met Vanessa. She appeared 6 years ago at a family dinner, tall, thin, with that straight hair cascading over her shoulders and a smile that showed all her teeth. She wore a fitted dress, wine-colored, and incredibly high heels. She sat at the table and started talking nonstop about her digital projects and her personal brand strategies. Ernest and I exchanged looks. Something did not fit, but Sam looked at her as if she were a gift from heaven. Mom Vanessa is different. She understands me. She pushes me to be better. Better. That word hurt me without knowing why. They got married the following year, an expensive wedding in an elegant garden that we paid for completely, $50,000. Vanessa insisted it had to be memorable because her followers expected quality content. From that day on, Sam started to change. Or maybe I started to notice it. He stopped visiting us as much. When he came, he no longer sat to chat with me in the kitchen like before. He answered the phone in a rush. "Yes, Mom, We will talk later. Vanessa is calling me." And when Ernest died, when I needed my son the most, he was absent. Physically present, but emotionally miles away. Now that they lived in my house, the transformation was impossible to ignore. The Sam I knew used to hug me when he got home from work. This Sam barely said hello to me. He went straight up to what was now his room and locked himself in with Vanessa. The Sam I knew used to ask me how my day was. This Sam did not even look up from his cell phone when I spoke to him. One afternoon I was making pot roast in the kitchen, the roast he loved since he was a boy, and he came in looking for water. I dared to ask him, "Son, is something wrong? You seem distant." He looked at me as if I had spoken in another language. "No, Mom. Everything is fine. I just have a lot of work. It is just that we almost never talk anymore. Mom, do not start with the drama. Okay, I am not a child anymore. I have responsibilities. Vanessa and I have plans. Plans. They never included me. Vanessa had him completely manipulated, but he did not see it, or he did not want to see it. One night, I heard them arguing upstairs. I was in my little room reading when their voices came through the ceiling. "Sam, your mom is already old. This house is too much for her. The logical thing would be to sell it and for her to go to a smaller place or a nursing home." My blood froze. I do not know Vanessa. It is the house where I grew up, where my dad lived. Exactly. Lived. Past tense. You and I need to think about our future, about Cammie. This property is worth millions. We could sell it, give a part to your mom so she can settle somewhere else, and we finally have something of our own. Silence. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. No, you are crazy. No, I would never do that to my mother. Just let me think about it. I cried in silence that night with the pillow covering my mouth so they would not hear me. The next day, Sam came into the kitchen while I was washing dishes. He stood next to me looking out the window. "Mom, have you ever thought about simplifying your life? You know this house is very big, a lot of maintenance. At your age, you should be resting." My hand slipped. A plate fell into the sink with a dull thud. "This is my house, Sam. I built my life here with your father. I know, Mom, but Dad is no longer here. And you could be more comfortable in a small apartment, without stairs, without a garden to take care of." I turned around to look him in the eyes. I looked for my son in there, the boy who hugged me when he had nightmares, the young man who gave me flowers every Mother's Day. I did not find him. I only saw a man repeating words that were not his, a puppet with the strings tied tight. "I am not going to sell my house." His jaw tightened. For the first time, I saw a flash of something dark in his eyes, something that scared me. "As you wish, Mom. It was just a suggestion." He left the kitchen, and I stayed there with wet hands and a broken heart, finally understanding the truth. My son was no longer mine. Vanessa had turned him into another person, and the worst part was that he let her. But if you think that was the most painful part, wait until you hear how I became a maid in my own home. Because the humiliation was just beginning, the escalation of humiliations. The first time Vanessa asked me to make her breakfast, I thought it was a normal request. A daughter-in-law asking her mother-in-law for help. Nothing out of this world. "Linda, would you make me some scrambled eggs? I have an important video call and I do not have time." I made her eggs, with ham just how she liked them. Toast. Freshly squeezed orange juice. I went up the stairs with the tray. I knocked on the door of my room. "Come in." I entered. Vanessa was sitting in front of her computer, perfectly made up in an impeccable white blouse. She did not even turn to look at me. "Leave it there on the nightstand. Thanks." As if I were the help. I went down the stairs feeling a knot in my stomach. But I told myself it is just today. She is busy. The next day she asked for the same thing, and the next, and the next. By the second week she did not ask anymore. She simply expected me to bring breakfast up at 9 o'clock sharp. If I was 5 minutes late, I heard her voice from upstairs. "Linda, is it going to take long?" And Sam never said anything. He sat at the table, ate what I prepared for him, and went up to lock himself in his improvised office. But that was just the beginning. One Tuesday, her friends arrived. 3 women just as made up as she was, with designer bags and that air of someone who has never washed a dish in their life. They settled in my living room as if they owned it. "Linda, can you bring us coffee?" Vanessa shouted from the couch. "And some cookies, please. I made coffee." I served the cookies I had baked the day before on the pretty porcelain plate my mother gave me. I took it to the living room with my hands shaking from contained rage. "Here you go." One of her friends looked me up and down. "Oh, you are so lucky, Ness, having live-in help at the house. It is so hard to find honest people these days. Live-in help, she called me live-in help, in my own house. Vanessa laughed. She did not defend me. She did not say she is not the maid. She is my mother-in-law. She is the owner of this house. Nothing. She just laughed and kept chatting as if I were invisible. I went down to the kitchen, closed the door, and let the tears fall in silence over the sink. The humiliations became routine. Linda Cammie's clothes are dirty. Can you wash them, Linda? We are out of toilet paper. Go buy some. Linda, guests are coming today. I need you to clean the living room and prepare snacks. Each order hurt like a slap in the face, but the worst part was that Sam allowed it. He saw everything and said absolutely nothing. One afternoon, I was mopping the living room floor, my living room, when I heard Vanessa talking on the phone on the balcony. Yes, Mom, almost there. Sam is convinced that the best thing is to sell. We just need the old lady to sign the papers. No, it has not been difficult. We have her well controlled. We took the key to the pantry so she doesn't waste food. We put her in the servants' room and give her tasks all day so she feels useful. She thinks we need her. It is pathetic, honestly. The mop fell from my hands. Pathetic. She called me pathetic, and I was still there, cleaning, cooking, enduring. Why? Because I was afraid. Afraid that if I complained, Sam would leave forever. Afraid of being left completely alone in that house full of ghosts. Afraid to admit that I had lost my son. But the straw that broke the camel's back came on a Sunday in November. It was my birthday, 68 years old. The first one without Ernest. I woke up with a heavy heart, but with a little hope. Maybe Sam remembered. Maybe there would be a hug, a happy birthday. Something. I went down to the kitchen. No one. I made coffee and sat alone at the table. Hours passed. Sam came out of his room at noon, went straight to the fridge, took out a soda, and went back up without looking at me. Vanessa came down at 2 in the afternoon, perfectly fixed up as always. Linda, did you make lunch yet? I am hungry. I looked at her. I hoped she would remember that she would say something. Nothing. I am going to make something. I murmured. I cooked. Served, they ate, they left, and I stayed there in the kitchen, staring at the calendar on the wall with the date marked. November 11th. My birthday. No one remembered. No one. That night, lying in my little bed in the guest room, something inside me broke, but not like before. This time I did not cry. This time I felt something different. Rage. Pure and clean rage that burned in my chest. How much more was I going to take? Until when was I going to allow them to treat me like this? At what moment had I stopped being Linda Foster, owner of her life, to become a doormat that everyone stepped on? Ernest would have never allowed this. And I was betraying him by allowing it. I sat up in bed, I turned on the light, and I made a decision. If they wanted to play dirty, I would learn the rules. If they wanted to take everything from me, they would have to step over my dead body, because it was one thing to be kind. It was another very different thing to be an idiot. And Linda Foster had been an idiot for long enough. The city park became my refuge. Every morning after serving breakfast and cleaning the kitchen, I went out with the excuse of walking for a while. Vanessa barely looked up from her cell phone. Sam did not even notice. I sat on the same bench under the big ash tree and watched life go by. Ladies with their grandchildren, elderly couples holding hands, pretzel vendors. Normalcy. Something I had lost without realizing it. It was there that I met Mr. Arthur, a man of about 75 years with completely white hair, thick-rimmed glasses, and a carved wooden cane that he did not really seem to need. He always carried a folded newspaper under his arm and a bag of crumbs for the sparrows. The first day, we only exchanged greetings. The second, a comment about the weather. By the third, we sat on the same bench without saying anything, simply sharing the silence. After a week, we started to talk. Do you live nearby, ma'am, 3 blocks away, the house with the purple flowers? Ah, I know it. Beautiful property. Do you live alone? And right there, I broke down. I do not know why. Maybe because he was a stranger. Maybe because I could no longer bear the weight alone. I live with my son, my daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter. But yes, I feel very alone. Mr. Arthur said nothing. He just nodded as if he understood perfectly. In the following days, little by little, I told him everything. The humiliations, the silent dispossession, how they had turned me into a servant in my own home, how my son looked at me without seeing me. He listened without interrupting, without judging. And when I finished, after almost 2 weeks of venting, he said something that changed my life. "Mrs. Linda, do you know what the difference is between a victim and a survivor? No. The victim waits for others to change. The survivor takes control of her own story." He adjusted his glasses. "I was a lawyer for 40 years. I specialized in family law, and believe me when I tell you this. What they are doing to you has a name. It is called financial exploitation and elder abuse." The words hit me. I had never thought of it that way. But he was right. And what can I do? He is my son. Precisely for that reason, you must act. Because if you do not do it now, when they try to take everything from you legally, it will be too late. He leaned toward me. "Do you trust me?" Something in his look calmed me. I nodded. "Then listen very carefully. Mr. Arthur explained to me that I needed to document everything, every conversation, every humiliation, every plan I heard. And above all, I had to legally protect my assets before they made any official move. Do you have a cell phone that they do not know about? I have Ernest's old one. I kept it in a box. Perfect. Charge it. Record conversations. Take photos of documents. Everything you can without them suspecting. But isn't that illegal? In your own home, protecting your own assets from fraud? No. It is legitimate legal defense. He gave me the name of a trusted notary, Mr. Ralph Sanders with an office downtown. Tell him I sent you. He will know what to do. I went back home that day with my heart beating differently. For the first time in months, I felt something resembling hope. That night, while everyone slept, I took Ernest's old cell phone out of the box in the closet. I plugged it in to charge in my room, covering it with a towel. The screen lit up with the photo he had as the background. The two of us in Hawaii smiling under a palm tree. "Forgive me, my love," I whispered. "I should have done this sooner." The next few days, I became a spy in my own house. I learned to keep the cell phone hidden in my apron pocket to activate the recorder when I heard them talking, to take discreet photos of papers they left on the table. And what I discovered chilled my blood. One afternoon, while I was cleaning the study, what used to be Ernest's office, I found documents printed between the pages of a magazine. I recognized the logo, a law firm in the financial district. I took photos fast with my hands shaking. It was a petition to declare me incompetent due to cognitive deterioration. They had appointments with a private psychiatrist, a calendar with marked dates, and at the bottom, in Sam's handwriting, 6 months maximum. I felt the floor moving under my feet, but I did not cry. This time I took the photos and put everything back exactly as it was. The following week I went to the notary. Mr. Ralph received me in his elegant office overlooking the city fountain. He was a man in his 50s, formal but kind. "Mr. Arthur spoke to me about you, Mrs. Foster. Tell me everything." I showed him the photos, the recordings, everything. His expression darkened. "This is serious, but we have time to protect you. We made several legal moves that Sam and Vanessa never imagined. First, I shielded the property with an irrevocable trust. The house was still mine, but no one could sell or transfer it without my express consent before 3 witnesses and a favorable psychological evaluation. Second, I updated my will with very specific clauses. If they tried to declare me incompetent fraudulently, they automatically lost any right of inheritance. Third, I signed powers of attorney in favor of my niece, Danielle, my sister's daughter, who was a lawyer in Chicago. She did not know what was happening either, but when I called her and told her she flew in the next day, "Auntie, why didn't you tell me before?" Her eyes were full of tears of rage. Because I was ashamed, honey. Ashamed to admit that my own son was doing this to me. Danielle hugged me tight. "You are not alone anymore." With everything protected legally, Mr. Arthur suggested something else. Now comes the hard part, Linda. You need them to lower their guard to believe they won. Only then will they get confident and show their true intentions. You want me to fake dementia. Not complete dementia. Just forgetfulness, confusion, nothing exaggerated. Just enough so they think their plan is working. It was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. Pretending I was falling apart when inside I was more lucid than ever. I started forgetting things. Where had I put my keys? What day was it? I repeated questions. I would stare at the wall as if lost. I saw the look of satisfaction in Vanessa's eyes every time I got confused. Poor Linda, she told Sam one night without knowing I was listening with the cell phone recording in my pocket. You see, I was right. She is deteriorating. In a few more months we can proceed without guilt. Without guilt, as if declaring me crazy to rob me were an act of charity. But the real stroke of luck came 2 weeks later. I heard them planning the emergency, the fake call, the hospital, the accomplice doctor who was Vanessa's cousin, the power of attorney documents they would make me sign in the desperation of the moment. I recorded it all, every word, every laugh, every detail of their perfect plan. And when they hung up satisfied with their brilliant strategy, I remained there in my little room, looking at the cell phone with all the proof I needed. I looked at myself in the mirror that night. The woman looking back at me was no longer the same one who hid in the servants' room months ago. This woman had dry eyes, a clenched jaw, and a plan. "You want to play?" I said to myself in a low voice. "Then let's play." And that is how I arrived at that damn hospital, running like a fool to save a son who was never in danger. But this time, I knew exactly what was happening. Returning to the exact moment, to the supply closet, to the darkness that smelled of disinfectant and latex, to my heart beating against my ribs as if it wanted to escape. I was there, hidden like a criminal in my own tragedy, watching through the crack in the door as my son, my Sam, walked calmly down the hospital hallway with that smile I knew so well too. The smile from when he thought everything was going perfectly for him. Vanessa was by his side, clicking along in those red heels that cost more than a week's worth of groceries. She wore a fitted black dress as if she were going to a cocktail party and not a hospital. Hair tied in a high ponytail, bright red lips, perfect as always. And next to them, a man in a white coat. 40-something trimmed beard, stethoscope hanging around his neck. The three of them were laughing like old friends sharing a private joke. My hands gripped Ernest's cell phone inside my sweater pocket. Recording. I had activated it before Rachel shoved me into the room. "Are you nervous?" Vanessa asked, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "A little," Sam admitted. "What if it doesn't work?" The man in the white coat, the supposed doctor, laughed. "It is going to work, cousin. I told you it is foolproof. The old lady is going to arrive desperate, hysterical, without thinking twice. You throw yourself on the bed, make yourself pale. Moan a little. I come out very serious to give her the diagnosis. Surgical emergency. We need $35,000 immediately for the procedure. And while she processes the information, you put the power of attorney papers in front of her. Mom, just sign it. It is to speed up the process with the insurance. Sign. We transfer the money. And when she realizes the operation was never necessary, it is already too late." Vanessa clapped softly like an excited child. "You are a genius, Rodney. That is why you pay me cousin." Rodney winked at her. "Besides, with how senile the lady is lately, she won't even remember well what she signed. We will tell her it was the shock of the moment." Sam ran his hand through his hair. He looked uncomfortable. He only looked it. "What if she gets mad later? If she gets difficult?" "Oh, Sam, for God's sake." Vanessa rolled her eyes. We already talked about this 1,000 times. With the $35,000, we pay the lawyer to speed up the incapacitation. In 2 months, she is declared. In 3, the house is ours. In 4, we put her in a nice nursing home, one of those with gardens, and we start our real life without her in the way. It is my mom, Vanessa. She is a burden, Sam, and you know it. Her voice hardened. Or have you forgotten how she treated us before, always interfering in our relationship, always giving her opinion, always reminding you that the house is hers? Well, now she will pay for making us feel less. Lie. I never treated them badly. I never interfered in their relationship beyond what was normal, but Vanessa had rewritten history in my son's head until he believed her version. Besides, she continued with a softer voice, taking Sam's hand. Think about Cammie. Think about our future. About everything we can give her when we sell that house. $1.5 million, my love. Can you imagine a new condo, downtown, new car trips, private schools for the girl? Everything we deserve. Sam nodded slowly, and in that moment I knew I had lost him completely. The boy I raised, the one who cried when he saw a sad movie, the one who hugged me and told me, "You are the best mom in the world." That boy was dead, and this man, this stranger, had taken his place. "What time did you say she would arrive?" asked Rodney, checking his watch. "I called her 40 minutes ago," Sam responded. "She should be here by now. I told her it was urgent, that I was critical." "Perfect. Then let's go to room 3. Everything is ready there." The bed, the monitors, the fake IVs, the whole theater. They started walking down the hallway, toward me. I pressed myself against the wall of the room, holding my breath. They passed inches from the door. I heard their footsteps moving away. And then Rachel appeared. She opened the door slowly. Her eyes shone with that mixture of compassion and urgency I saw from the beginning. "Did you hear everything?" I nodded, unable to speak. The tears finally came out, but not from sadness, from rage, from a fury so great that my whole body shook. "I recorded it," I whispered, showing her the cell phone. Rachel smiled. "Good. Now listen to me carefully. My shift ends in 10 minutes. I am going to go out with you through the staff emergency exit. They are waiting for you at reception and in room 3. They are not going to see you leave. Do you have somewhere to go? Yes, I have. I have people waiting for me. Perfect." Rachel took out her cell phone and took photos of the 3 of them from afar discreetly. "Take this in case you need more evidence." My mother went through something similar 5 years ago. Her own sister tricked her to take her house. Since then, when I detect these situations, I act. I am not going to allow what happened to my mom to happen to another lady. I hugged her. Tight. "Thank you. Thank you for saving me. Do not thank me yet. Save yourself. Go with those recordings to the authorities. And do not let them get away with it." We left through the employee door. The fresh afternoon air hit my face. November in the city. Gray sky. Smell of approaching rain. I walked 2 blocks before hailing a taxi. I gave him the address of Mr. Arthur's office. During the whole ride, the cell phone vibrated in my purse. Sam calling. Once, twice, 5, 10. Messages from Vanessa. "Linda, where are you? Did you arrive at the hospital? Yet Sam is looking for you. He is worried. Answer, please. Lies. All lies." I arrived at Mr. Arthur's office. He was waiting for me with Danielle. As soon as they saw me enter, they knew I had what we needed. "I have it all," I said, taking out the cell phone. Every word, the whole plan. Danielle played the recordings. Her face hardened with every second that passed. When it finished, she slapped the table with her palm. "Those bastards, Auntie, this is enough to proceed legally. We can file a complaint right now." "Wait," said Mr. Arthur, raising his hand. "Not yet." "Why not?" "Because if we file the complaint now, they are going to deny everything. They are going to say the recording is fake, that Linda is confused, that she misunderstood. And even though we have evidence, the legal process will be long and painful." He took off his glasses and looked directly at me. "Does Linda trust me?" "Yes." Then let's do this right. Let them think they won, but just a little longer. And when they are celebrating their victory, that is when we hit them. With everything, in front of everyone, so there is no doubt about who they really are. Danielle was going to protest, but I raised my hand. He is right. I want everyone to see. The family, the friends, everyone. I want Sam to understand exactly what he did and have nowhere to hide. Mr. Arthur smiled. Then let me explain the plan. And there in that office, with the sky darkening outside and my heart beating with a mixture of fear and determination, we planned the end of the story. My ending. The one I would write. They wanted to play tricks, but they did not know I had just learned the rules of the game. And this time, I was going to win. I got home almost at 8 at night. The lights were on. From outside, I heard agitated voices. I stopped for a moment in the garden, took a deep breath, and went in, acting the role of my life. I opened the door, trembling. It was not hard. I still had my nerves shattered. Sam was in the living room, pacing from one side to the other with his cell phone in his hand. Vanessa was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed and that face of annoyance I knew so well. Mom, where the hell were you? Sam practically yelled at me. I called you 1,000 times. You went to the hospital and disappeared. We were extremely worried. Extremely worried. What a big word to cover a lie. I put my hand to my chest, gasping. Son, they told me you were critical. I ran to the hospital, but I did not find you. I looked for you everywhere. I asked at reception. No one knew anything. Because they discharged me quickly, Mom. I told you in the message. He lied without blinking. It was a false alarm. Chest pain that turned out to be gas, but I need treatment. The doctor says it is something with the heart that I need urgent tests. There it was. The next move in the plan. The heart, oh my God. My eyes filled with real tears, but not for his lie. For confirming that he was really capable of this. What do you need? Whatever it is, son. Whatever it is. I saw the shine in Vanessa's eyes, the smile she tried to hide. They are expensive tests, Mom. The private cardiologist charges $35,000 for the whole package. Special electrocardiograms, monitoring analysis. But the insurance does not cover everything. Mom, it is my life. It is urgent. He came closer. He took my hands. The very same hands I held when he learned to walk. I need you to help me, please. The theater was perfect. I almost believed it. It is okay. It is okay, son. Tomorrow we will go to the bank. I will take out the money you need. No, Mom. It is not that simple. Ashley got up from the armchair, approaching me with a brown folder in her hands. The doctor needs guarantees. He asked for you to sign some documents, a temporary power of attorney, so that Ryan can authorize the procedures in case of an emergency. You know, just in case something happens to you or you cannot get there fast enough. She extended the papers. I saw them. I recognized the format. Mr. Arthur had shown me one just like it that same afternoon. It was not a simple medical proxy. It was a broad power of attorney over my bank accounts and properties. I do not know. It is a lot of papers. I acted confused, touching my head. Mom, please, this is not the time to be difficult. Ryan's voice had a tone of studied desperation. Literally, my life depends on this. I looked him in the eyes. I searched for a shred of guilt, of doubt, of humanity. Nothing. Okay, I whispered. Where do I sign? Ashley practically jumped with excitement, but she controlled herself. Here, here, and here. She pointed with her perfect red fingernail. I took the pen they offered me. My hands were trembling this time from contained rage. And I signed, but not the real papers. Mr. Arthur had prepared fake copies, identical, perfect, with absolutely no legal value. I had brought them with me in my purse. And in a moment of distraction, when Ashley went to the kitchen for water, I had swapped the documents. I signed papers that were good for nothing, but they did not know that. Done, I said, handing them over. Ashley reviewed them quickly. She smiled. Perfect, Lucy. Thank you. Ryan is going to be fine thanks to you. That night we ate dinner in silence. I barely tasted a bite. They did not eat either. They were anxious, restless, probably thinking about what they would do with the money. I went up to my small room early. I lay down in the dark with my late husband's cell phone in my hand. I sent a text message to Danielle. I signed. They fell for it. Her reply was immediate. Excellent. Tomorrow phase 2 begins. The following days were a constant performance. Every morning I got up, made breakfast, cleaned, and took care of Lily, like always. But now with a purpose. Ryan and Ashley were euphoric. They believed they had won. I heard them talking on the phone with their lawyer, the real one, not the actor from the hospital. Yes, counselor, she signed everything. How long do the procedures take? 2 months perfect. Ashley began looking for houses on the internet. I saw her in the living room commenting out loud as if I did not exist. Look at this one, honey. 3 bedrooms uptown. $800,000. With what we get from this house, it covers it perfectly, and we have enough left over for the car. Ryan looked over her shoulder. It is pretty, but look for something with a terrace. I want a terrace. They were talking about the future, about their future, in which I existed as nothing more than a resolved paperwork issue. One afternoon while I was ironing clothes in the laundry room, Ashley walked in talking on the phone. She did not realize I was there behind the hanging sheets. Yes, Mom. Almost there. I am telling you, in 3 months maximum everything is resolved. No, she does not suspect a thing. She is more out of it every day. Ryan already spoke with the psychiatrist. He is going to certify that she is not in her right mind. Uh-huh. Of course. We will give her something. We are not monsters. We will rent her a tiny apartment or put her in a home. But the house is ours. Because we deserve it, Mom. Do you know everything we have put up with living with a bitter old woman who spends her time reminding us that it is her house? I bit my lip until it bled so I would not run out and scream at her, but I breathed. I counted to 10, and I kept ironing as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Mr. Arthur Danielle and I were working in silence. We presented all the evidence before a judge. The recordings, the photos, the falsified documents, the testimony from Aunt Susan, everything. The formal complaint was filed for fraud, extortion, patrimonial violence, and conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly adult as incompetent. The judge reviewed everything and issued an order, but we would not execute it yet. First would come the final trap. We need them to feel completely safe, Danielle explained in a secret meeting at her hotel. Let them do something public. Let them expose themselves in front of witnesses. Like what? I asked. Mr. Arthur smiled. Like a party. And that is how the plan was born. I suggested to Ryan with a timid voice like the submissive Lucy, they expected that we have a family gathering. So they can see that you are okay, son. After the scare at the hospital, let's invite the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. Ashley loved the idea. Of course, it was the perfect opportunity to show herself off as the attentive daughter-in-law, the one who took care of her poor mother-in-law. It is a great idea, Lucy. I will take care of everything. You do not worry. We set the date. 2 weeks later, a Saturday. Surprise party for your belated birthday, Mom, Ryan said as if he actually cared. My birthday that they had completely forgotten. During those 14 days, I watched them prepare everything. Ashley hired a catering service. She sent out elegant invitations. She bought decorations. She even put on my pearl necklace to try on her outfit. And I smiled. I nodded. I thanked them. While inside, I was counting the hours until the day of truth arrived. The night before the party, I could not sleep. I sat on the small bed in the maid's room with Ernest's photo in my hands. Tomorrow, my love, I whispered to the photograph. Tomorrow I reclaim our dignity. Forgive me for taking so long. And when the sun came up that December Saturday, I got up as a different woman, the woman I should have been from the beginning. They prepared a party to celebrate their victory. But they did not know that I had prepared something much better, a finale they would never forget. Saturday dawned cold and clear. From my window in the service room, I saw how the catering staff arrived with boxes, folding tables, and ivory tablecloths. Ashley directed them like a war general in her designer sweatpants and her hair in a perfect bun. No, the tables go in a U shape. In a U. Is it that hard to understand? Her voice cut through the walls. I dressed slowly. A simple brown dress that Ernest gave me years ago. Nothing elegant. Nothing that would draw attention. Exactly what Ashley would expect from poor Lucy. I went down to the kitchen around 10. Lily was sitting on the living room floor playing with her dolls. When she saw me, she ran toward me. "Grandma Lucy, Mommy says today is your party. Are you going to blow out candles?" I hugged her tight, breathing in the smell of baby shampoo in her hair. "Yes, my love, there will be candles. And cake." And cake. Ashley appeared from the dining room. "Lily, stop bothering your grandmother. Go to your room and play." Then she looked at me. "Lucy, everything is ready. You just sit down and let us handle it. It is your day." My day, how ironic. "Thank you, dear," I said with a soft voice. "How kind you are." Her smile was pure acting. "It is the least we can do. After all, you are family." Family. The word burned my throat. The hours passed in slow motion. I sat in a garden chair, pretending to be tired out of it while I observed the preparations. The tables looked beautiful. White flowers in centerpieces, rented china, a candy table with a sign that said, "Happy Birthday, Lucy, 68 years." At 4 in the afternoon, the guests began to arrive. My sister Susan with her husband, my cousins Hector and Mary, some neighbors, friends of Ryan's that I had not seen in years, and Danielle, my niece, who arrived in a navy blue dress and a smile that only I could interpret. "Everything is ready, Auntie." Mr. Arthur was also there. They had invited him without knowing who he really was. "A friend from the park who appreciates Mom very much," I had said days before. Ryan did not even ask any further. And finally, the special guest no one expected, an official from the family court. Dressed in civilian clothes, blended in among the guests with the legal documents in an envelope inside his jacket. Everyone hugged me, congratulated me. "Lucy, what a beautiful party. You look very good. What lovely children you have organizing all this. If they only knew." Ryan and Ashley played their roles to perfection. He took me by the arm, guided me to the main table. She served me punch, offered me appetizers. "Eat, Lucy, everything is delicious." The great performance in front of the audience. At 5:30, Ryan asked for attention by tapping a glass with a knife. Everyone went silent. "Well, family and friends, thank you for joining us today. As you know, we are here to celebrate the most important woman in my life, my mom." He looked at me with shiny eyes, fake, completely fake. "Mom, I am sorry for forgetting your birthday last month. I was going through health issues and, well, I got distracted. But today I want to make up for it. I want you to know that I love you, that everything I do is for you, for your well-being." Some guests sighed with emotion. My sister Susan had tears in her eyes. Poor thing, she knew nothing. Ashley approached then with a box wrapped in gold paper. "Lucy, this is our gift. For you." Everyone applauded. They passed me the box. I opened it slowly. It was a digital picture frame, one of those that cycles through photos automatically. It came already loaded with pictures of the family. Ryan as a baby, Ryan as a boy, Ryan graduating, his wedding, Lily being born. Not a single photo of Ernest and me. "It is beautiful," I murmured. "Thank you." "And we have another surprise," Ashley announced, taking Ryan's hand. "We wanted to tell you that we have been thinking about the future, about your future, Lucy." The garden went silent. "We know that this house is too big for you, that it is hard for you to maintain it, that you feel lonely." Ryan spoke with a calm, practiced voice. That is why we are looking for a more comfortable place for you, a beautiful residence in Florida with gardens, nurses, activities. You are going to be very well taken care of." Gasps of surprise among the guests. "And the house?" my sister Susan asked with a frown. "We are going to sell the house," Ashley responded naturally. "With that money, we secure Lucy's future in the residence, and Ryan, Lily, and I will finally be able to have a home of our own. It is the best thing for everyone." I saw the faces of the guests. Some nodded, thinking it sounded reasonable. Others seemed uncomfortable. Mr. Arthur looked at me, waiting for my signal. Danielle squeezed her cup of punch with such force I thought she would break it. In fact, Ryan continued taking some papers out of his jacket pocket. "Mom already signed the documents that give us authorization to proceed because she understands, she knows that this is for the best." He showed the papers to the guests, the fake ones, the ones that were good for nothing, but they did not know that. Ashley was smiling. Susan was crying, thinking it was something emotional. And Ryan looked at me, waiting for me to nod like the submissive little old lady he thought I was. I took a deep breath, and I smiled, a smile that chilled him. "Everyone celebrated," I said, with a clear voice louder than I had spoken in months. I just smiled and said, "Son, you really do not know, do you?" Ryan froze. The color drained from his face. Ashley furrowed her brow. "Know what?" I stood up from the chair. Everyone was looking at me. "Know that those papers you have in your hand are worthless, that they are fake copies, that they never had any power over my assets." Absolute silence. Ryan looked at the documents as if they were going to burn him. "What? Know that I have recordings of all your conversations, every plan, every lie, the hospital trap, the fake doctor, everything." Ashley took a step back. "You are confused, Lucy." "No, Ashley. For the first time in months, I am completely lucid." I took my cell phone out of my pocket. "Do you want to listen?" And there in front of all the guests, I played the recordings. Ashley's voice. "We have her well controlled. She is pathetic, honestly." Ryan's voice. "And what if she gets angry later?" Cousin Rodrigo's voice. "The old woman is going to arrive desperate, hysterical." The garden filled with scandalized whispers. Susan put her hands to her mouth. The neighbors looked at each other. Mary shook her head in disbelief. Ashley tried to grab my cell phone. "That is illegal. You cannot record without permission." "In my own house, protecting my assets from fraud, yes, I can," I responded calmly. "And I have witnesses. I have evidence. And I have something else." I looked at Mr. Arthur. He nodded. Lucy Ryan's voice was trembling. "Mom, please, I can explain." "No, not anymore." I looked him in the eyes. "You had 8 months to give explanations. 8 months enduring humiliations, being a maid in my own house, watching how you planned to steal everything from me, hoping that at some moment you would react, that you would remember who raised you, who loved you unconditionally." The tears rolled down my cheeks, but they were not tears of sadness. They were of liberation. And the worst of all, Ryan, is not that Ashley manipulated you. It is that you let her, that you chose to believe her and betray your own mother. He tried to get close. "Mom, do not touch me." I took a step back, and then Mr. Arthur approached with the court official. "Guadalupe Fierro has a formal complaint filed against the two of you," the official said with a firm voice, "for fraud, extortion, patrimonial violence, and conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly adult as incompetent." The guests erupted in murmurs. Ashley went pale. This is a misunderstanding." "It is no misunderstanding," Danielle intervened, stepping closer. "We have all the necessary evidence, and now you have 2 options." The garden turned into an improvised courtroom. The guests formed a semicircle around us, some with their mouths open, others with eyes full of tears. The birthday cake remained intact on the table, with its unlit candles as a silent witness to everything. Danielle took a folder out of her purse. All her movements were precise, professional. Option 1. she said with a firm voice, opening the folder so everyone could see the official documents. Full criminal charges proceed. Patrimonial fraud, 3 to 12 years in prison. Family violence, 6 months to 4 years. Conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly adult incompetent. Aggravating circumstances which can add up to 5 more years, plus reparation for moral and financial damages. Ashley was shaking. Ryan looked about to faint. Option 2. Danielle continued closing the folder. Ryan and Ashley leave this house today. You take only your personal clothing and objects you can prove you bought with your money. You sign a document waiving any future claim on this property. And Ryan accepts attending mandatory family therapy if he wishes someday to rebuild the relationship with his mother. And Lily. My voice came out broken. Why was that little girl the only innocent thing in all this? Lily stays temporarily with her grandmother under provisional custody, Danielle explained. She asked to stay with you herself when we explained that her parents would have to leave. Ashley can visit her under supervision until the definitive situation is resolved. Ashley exploded. You cannot take my daughter from me. This is kidnapping. This is child protection, the court official responded. The child was living in an environment where a crime was being committed. The judge already authorized it. Ashley's eyes were shooting fire. She looked at me with a hatred so pure I felt cold. All this is your fault, you stupid old woman, if you had just given us what belonged to us from the beginning. What belonged to you? My sister Susan took a step forward, her voice trembling with indignation. Belonged. Lucy and Ernest built this house with 40 years of work. You two did not put in a single dollar. How dare you, because he is her son, Ashley screamed. Because he deserves it more than she does. Because she is already old and already lived her life. Now it is our turn. The silence that followed was sepulchral. Even the catering staff had stopped working to watch. Ashley, I said, with a calm I did not know where I was getting from. I received you in my house when you were left with nowhere to live. I opened my door to you. I gave you a roof, food. I took care of your daughter as if she were my own blood. And you called me pathetic. You took my bedroom, my dignity. You planned to steal everything from me, and worst of all, you turned my son into a thief. I turned toward Ryan. He could not look me in the eyes. Mom. His voice was barely a whisper. I did not want it to come to this. You did not want it. Seriously. My voice rose for the first time. 48 years contained in that scream. Ryan, you planned to deceive me with a fake hospital. You signed papers to declare me incompetent. You let me sleep in the maid's room while she wore my pearl necklace. And you did not want it to come to this. The tears finally welled up in his eyes, but it was already late. I thought it was for the best, that you would be okay in a nursing home. That we could. Could what, mister? Arthur spoke for the first time since it all began. His voice sounded like that of a disappointed father. Could live in a stolen house, sleep in a bed bought with a mother's pain, look that little girl in the eyes and tell her you betrayed her grandmother to give her a better life. Ryan covered his face with his hands. My sister Susan walked up to him. Ryan Montoya. I have known you since you were born. I saw how Lucy took care of you when you had pneumonia at 5 years old. 3 nights without sleeping, praying for you to survive. I saw how your father worked double shifts for years to pay for your college. And this is how you pay them back. You should be ashamed. I am ashamed, he cried. I am ashamed. Ashley pulled him by the arm. Do not say anything else to them. Ryan, let's go. We will get a better lawyer. This is not going to end like this. Yes, it is going to end like this. Danielle's voice was pure ice. Because if you do not accept option 2 right now, this instant, I will proceed with the full complaint. And I assure you that with all these people as witnesses to your attitude, to how you treated her, to how you just confirmed everything in front of everyone, you are not going to have any escape. Ashley opened her mouth to respond, but Ryan interrupted her. I accept. His voice sounded broken. I accept option 2. What Ashley looked at him as if he had just stabbed her. I accept, Ashley. Stop, just stop. Look at what we did. Look at what I let you do to us. He turned toward me with red eyes. Mom, I am sorry. I know it is useless. I know I lost you. But I am sorry. I did not answer. I could not. The words were stuck in my throat. Mr. Arthur took out the documents. Sign here and here. Waiver of claims. Commitment to immediate move-out. And here, Ryan, the commitment to therapy. Ryan signed with a trembling hand. Ashley refused at first, but when the official explained that the alternative was being arrested immediately, she also signed with such force that she tore the paper. You have 2 hours to get your things out, Danielle said, reviewing the documents. The guests were still there, motionless, processing everything they had just witnessed. Ryan and Ashley went up the stairs. We heard them opening drawers, dragging suitcases. Ashley was screaming, throwing things. Ryan packed in silence. My cousin Hector approached me. Lucy, if we had known... No one knew. I did not want you to know. I was ashamed. I wiped my tears, ashamed to admit that my own son was destroying me. Susan hugged me. It is over, sister. It is over. But it was not over. The hardest part was still missing. Lily came down the stairs with her unicorn backpack. She had confused, frightened eyes. Grandma Lucy Mommy says I am going with them. I knelt in front of her, taking her little hands. My love, do you want to leave? She shook her head, her lips trembling. I want to stay with you. Mommy and Daddy fight a lot, and you make me cookies and read me stories. My heart broke in two. Then you are staying with me, precious. It is settled. Mommy will come to visit you often. Ashley came down at that moment with 3 suitcases. Upon hearing that, she dropped the suitcases with a crash. You cannot stay with my daughter. The judge already determined it, Danielle repeated. Provisional custody for the grandmother, supervised visits for the mother, or the charges proceed and you lose even that. Ashley knelt in front of Lily, grabbing her by the shoulders. Sweetie, we are going to be fine. We are going to get a new house, a beautiful one. We do not need anyone. Lily looked at her and said something no one expected. Why did you say mean things to my grandma, Mommy? I heard you. You called her old and pathetic. The garden went silent. Ashley turned pale. You do not understand. Yes, I do understand. She is good, and you were mean to her. Lily let go of her hands and clung to my leg. Ashley stayed there, kneeling, watching how her own daughter rejected her. Ryan came down with his suitcase. He avoided looking at everyone. Ashley, let's go. My daughter. Ashley, let's go. They went out through the garden door without saying anything else, without looking back. Ashley was sobbing. Ryan walked with slumped shoulders like a defeated man, and I watched them go. The son I had raised, the woman who had poisoned him. The door closed, and for the first time in 8 months I breathed. They were gone, and although my heart was broken, I could finally begin to heal. The garden remained full of stunned guests. No one had moved since Ryan and Ashley crossed that door. The silence was so dense you could hear the wind moving the purple bougainvilleas. Lily was still clinging to my leg with her little face buried in my dress. I stroked her hair slowly, trying to transmit the calm that I myself was barely finding. Susan broke the silence. Does anyone want cake? Several guests let out nervous laughs. It was absurd. We had just lived through a devastating family drama and she was offering cake, but that was my sister. Practical even in crises. Yes, I said with a voice firmer than I expected. Let's cut the cake, after all it is still my birthday. The catering staff, who had been paralyzed against the wall, reacted. They lit the candles. 68. The golden light danced over the white frosting. Everyone sang, "Happy Birthday," with trembling voices at first, but gaining strength. And when the moment came to blow out the candles, I closed my eyes and made a wish. I did not ask for Ryan to come back. I did not ask for everything to go back to how it was before. I asked for strength, to keep going forward, to rebuild what had been broken. I blew. The candles all went out at once. Lily clapped. "You did it, Grandma." "Yes, darling, I did it." The guests began to approach one by one, some with tears in their eyes, others with contained rage, all with words of support. "Lucy, you did the right thing," said my cousin Mary, hugging me tight. "No one deserves to be treated like that. No one." The neighbors who so many times saw Ashley treating me like a servant in my own garden also approached. "Mrs. Fierro, if we had known if you had told us something." "You could not have done anything," I responded with sincerity. "This was something I had to resolve. I had to learn to defend myself." Mr. Arthur sat next to me on one of the garden chairs. "You did well, Lucy. You were brave when you needed it most." I did not feel brave. I felt terrified. That is exactly what courage is. Doing the right thing even if you are afraid. He patted my hand. "And now comes the hard part. Harder than this." He smiled with sadness. "Healing, forgiving. Not necessarily them, but yourself. For having allowed it to go this far." Those words hit me deep because he was right. A part of me was angry with myself for having been blind, for having put up with so much. The party continued, although with a completely different tone than planned. It was no longer a celebration. It was more like a collective healing gathering. People ate, spoke in low voices, hugged me every so often. At 8 at night, the last guests left. Susan offered to stay, but I told her I would be fine. Danielle helped clean up along with the catering staff. Mr. Arthur said goodbye with a long hug. "If you need me, you know where to find me. Every day at the park at 9 in the morning. I will be there." When everyone left, I took Lily up to what would now be her room, the guest room that Ashley never let me use for her because she needed space for her recording equipment. I helped her put on her pajamas. They were Minnie Mouse pink with white bows. While I brushed her hair, she asked me, "Grandma, are Mommy and Daddy coming back? Your Mommy is going to come visit you very soon, my love. And your Daddy." "Your Daddy needs some time to think about the things he did. Did he do something bad? How do you explain to a 3-year-old girl that her father tried to steal from her grandmother? That ambition and manipulation destroyed her family. He made mistakes, sweetie, big mistakes, but we all make mistakes. The difference is if we learn from them or not. Did you make mistakes, Grandma?" Her question hit me. Yes, precious, many. I let them treat me badly. I did not defend myself when I should have. I thought if I endured everything, things would get better on their own. And did they get better? I had to make them better myself. I tucked her into bed. I read her favorite story, The Little Prince, until her little eyes closed. I kissed her on the forehead and left slowly. I stayed in the hallway looking at the doors. My room was now empty. Ryan and Ashley had taken their things, their smells, their presents. I went inside. It still smelled like Ashley's perfume. The walls were still the colors she had chosen. Gray, cold, impersonal. I opened the windows wide. I let the night air enter. Tomorrow I would start restoring everything, returning this space to what it was, mine. I went down to the kitchen and made myself a chamomile tea. I sat at the table, the same table where I ate alone, so many times, while they celebrated upstairs, and I let the emotions of the day catch up to me. I cried. I cried like I had not cried in months. But they were not tears of defeat. They were tears of liberation, of processed pain, of grieving for the son I had lost, not to death, but to greed. My cell phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was Ryan. "Mom, I know I have no right to ask you for anything. I know I ruined everything. But I want you to know that you are right about everything, and I need help. I start therapy on Tuesday. I do not know if someday you can forgive me, but I am going to try to be the man I should have always been." The son you deserved. I love you, even though it does not seem like it. Even though I forgot it for a while. I love you. I read the message 3 times. My first instinct was to delete it, not answer, leave him with his guilt. But then I remembered Mr. Arthur's words. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. I did not answer that night, but I did not delete the message either. The following days were strange. The house felt enormous and silent, but also mine, completely mine. I hired a company to repaint my room. I put Ernest's photos back on the walls. I recovered my jewelry from the jewelry box. The pearl necklace went back to its place in the carved wooden chest my grandmother gave me. Lily adapted surprisingly fast. She played in the garden. She helped me cook. In the afternoons, we went to the city park, and she ran after the pigeons while I chatted with Mr. Arthur. Ashley came to visit her 2 weeks later, with Danielle present as supervisor. It was uncomfortable. Ashley avoided looking at me. Lily was polite but distant with her. "My daughter, Mommy, misses you," Ashley would tell her with a broken voice. "I miss you too, Mommy, but I like being with Grandma." I did not hear from Ryan directly again. Danielle informed me that he was indeed in therapy, that he had moved to a small apartment across town, that he had broken up with Ashley. She did not accept the therapy. She only blamed everyone except herself. 3 months after the day of the party, I received another call from Danielle. "Auntie Ryan wants to know if you would accept a family therapy session with him. His psychologist says he is ready, that he has worked a lot on understanding what he did. And what do you think? I think it is your decision. No one can force you to forgive him, but I also think he is trying. Truly." I thought about it for days. I spoke with Mr. Arthur, with Susan, even with Lily, although she did not fully understand. And finally, I accepted. The session was at the psychologist's office in the medical district, a small office with comfortable armchairs and a plant in the corner. Ryan arrived 10 minutes before me. He was thinner, deep circles under his eyes, beard of several days. When he saw me enter, he stood up immediately. "Mom, sit down, Ryan." The session lasted 2 hours. It was painful, brutally honest. Ryan cried. I cried. The psychologist guided us through every wound, every lie, every moment he chose to betray me. "I have no excuses," he said with a broken voice. "Ashley manipulated me, yes, but I let her. I chose to believe that you were the problem, that you deserved less because you had already lived your life. And I was wrong. I was so blinded by ambition, by wanting to have more, that I forgot everything you and Dad taught me. And now, what I asked. Do you expect me to forgive you and for everything to go back to how it was before? No. I know that will never happen. I broke something that has no complete repair. But I want to try to rebuild something new, not how it was, but how it can be, if you give me that chance." I looked at that man in front of me, my son, the boy I had carried in my arms, the rebellious teenager, the adult who betrayed me. "I do not know if I can, Ryan. It still hurts too much. I understand, and I will wait as long as necessary." We left the office without hugging, without promises, but with something we did not have before: honesty. 6 months after the day of the party, life had found a new rhythm. Lily went to a kindergarten near the house. She loved it. Ashley visited her every 2 weeks. Ryan saw her on Sundays, always in my presence. Little by little, he was rebuilding his relationship with his daughter. With me, there was still distance, but it was no longer an impassable abyss. It was more like a bridge under construction, slow, fragile, but existing. One afternoon in July, almost 9 months after everything, I was in the garden pruning the bougainvilleas when Ryan arrived. "Mom, can I talk to you always?" He sat on the wrought iron bench, the same one where Ernest used to read the newspaper on Sundays. "I got a new job at an accounting firm. It does not pay much, but it is honest, and I am saving up to pay you back the money for the wedding. and compensate even just a little for everything I spent living here. You do not need to. Yes, I need to, Mom. I need to do it. For me. To be able to look at myself in the mirror and know that I am trying to repair even if only a part of the damage. I looked at him. He was no longer the arrogant man who took my room. He was someone humble, broken, but trying to rebuild himself. It is okay, son. I accept. He nodded with moist eyes. Thank you. He stayed a while longer. He played with Lily in the garden. He helped me move some flower pots. And when he left, he hugged me. A short hug, timid but real. I love you, Mom. I love you too, son, even though it is hard for me. He smiled with sadness. I know, and I understand. Today, as I write this, almost 2 years later, I look at my house. My recovered house. The bougainvilleas keep growing purple and beautiful. Lily is 5 years old and helps me bake cookies every Saturday. Ryan comes to dinner once a month. There are still uncomfortable moments. There is still pain that has not gone away completely. But there is also something new. Dignity. The dignity I recovered the day I decided to defend myself. The dignity that I now protect with tooth and nail. Ashley tried to sue me for custody of Lily. She lost. The judges saw all the proofs. Now she has very limited visits. Ryan got divorced 6 months ago. He says it was the best thing he could have done. Mr. Arthur continues to be my friend, every day at 9 in the park. Susan comes to visit me every week. Danielle is the legal administrator of my assets, by my choice, not by imposition. And I went back to being Lucy Fierro, not the victim, not the pathetic little old lady, but the woman who built a life, who defended it when it was necessary, who learned that self-love is not selfishness, it is survival. If you are listening to this story and you feel identified if someone in your family is making you feel invisible, useless, like a burden, listen to me well. You are not invisible. You are not a burden. It does not matter your age. It does not matter if they are your children, your grandchildren, your siblings. Your dignity is not negotiable. Your house is yours. Your life is yours. Your voice matters. And never, never is it too late to defend yourself. I did it at 68 years old when I thought everything was already lost, when I believed I had to endure because that is how families are, when the fear of loneliness almost destroyed me. But I got up, and if I could, you can too. Because true wealth is not in the houses you inherit, nor in the money you accumulate. It is in the dignity that you never allow them to take away. If this story touched your heart, leave me your comment telling me where you are watching us from. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Because sometimes knowing we are not alone is the first step to defending ourselves. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more stories of women who decided not to give up. And remember, it is never too late to recover what is yours. See you in the next story, with a brave heart, always.